Mara stumbled backward into the ancient stone throne during the Alpha King's mating ceremony, her champagne glass shattering on the floor, and in that instant, the throne exploded with silver light that hadn't been seen in 300 years, binding her to the seat while every wolf in the grand hall dropped to their knees. She couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The light wrapped around her like living chains, cold and burning at the same time. "What have you done?" someone screamed. Mara tried to stand, but her body wouldn't obey. The throne held her like a lover's embrace, possessive and absolute. She'd only been trying to escape Marcus, the drunk beta who'd cornered her near the servants' entrance with his wandering hands and wine-soaked breath. One step back. That's all it had been. One stupid step. Now the entire Blackwood pack knelt before her in the grand hall, their heads bowed, their wolves forced into submission by a power Mara didn't understand. Crystal chandeliers cast fractured light across marble floors. The air smelled of roses and rage. At the altar, Alpha King Riker Blackwood still held the hand of his chosen mate. Seraphina Nightshade stood frozen in her white ceremonial gown, her perfect face twisted with fury. The mating cord between them, woven from silver thread and moonflower, had fallen to the ground, severed by the throne's magic. "Impossible!" Elder Nathaniel's voice cracked across the silence. He was ancient, his face a map of scars and years. "The throne hasn't recognized anyone since Queen Alara died 3 centuries ago." Mara's heart hammered against her ribs. "I didn't do anything, I swear. I just—" Silence. Riker's voice cut through her panic like a blade. He moved toward her, and the crowd parted. Mara had never been this close to him before. She'd served at pack functions for 2 years, always in the background, always invisible. Omega Wolves knew their place, quiet, useful, forgotten. But now she saw him clearly. Riker Blackwood was built like violence barely contained, tall and broad, with dark hair and eyes the color of winter storms. Power rolled off him in waves. As Alpha King of the Northern Territories, he commanded 12 packs and thousands of wolves, and she'd just ruined his mating ceremony. "Release the throne," he said. "I can't." Mara's voice shook. "I don't know how." Seraphina pushed past the elders, her silk train hissing across the floor. "Get that serving girl out of there. Now." "Lady Nightshade," Elder Nathaniel began. "Don't you dare lady me." Seraphina's eyes flashed amber. Her wolf was close to the surface. Dangerous. "This is sabotage. She planned this." "I didn't plan anything." Mara's fingers dug into the armrests. The stone was warm beneath her palms, almost alive. "I'm nobody. I'm just—" "Exactly. You're nobody." Seraphina's smile was sharp enough to draw blood. A desperate Omega looking for a way up. "That's enough." Riker didn't raise his voice, but the command in it made Seraphina step back. He turned to his head warrior, a massive wolf named Garrett. "Remove her." Garrett approached the throne carefully, like it might explode again. He was built like a mountain, with arms thick as tree trunks. When he grabbed Mara's wrist, she felt the strength in his grip, enough to crush bone without trying. He pulled. Nothing happened. Garrett's face reddened with effort. He braced his feet and hauled backward with all his considerable strength. Mara didn't budge an inch. She was fused to the throne, held by magic older than memory. "Impossible," Garrett muttered, stepping back. "Let me try." Another warrior came forward, then another. 4 of the pack's strongest wolves tried to move her. The throne didn't even tremble. Elder Nathaniel moved closer, his robes whispering. He studied Mara with eyes that had witnessed centuries of pack history. The throne chooses. It cannot be fooled or forced. If it has bound this girl, there must be a reason. What reason? Riker's jaw tightened. She's Omega. She has no bloodline, no power. This is a malfunction. The throne does not malfunction, Alpha King. Then fix it. Riker's eyes locked on Mara's. They were cold, assessing. Get the witches. Break the spell. 3 witches entered the hall within minutes, their power crackling like static electricity. The eldest, a woman named Morgana with silver-streaked hair, approached the throne cautiously. She placed her palms in the air around Mara, her eyes going distant. "Well?" Seraphina demanded. Morgana lowered her hands slowly. "The magic is primordial, written into the foundation of this territory. I can no more break it than I can stop the moon from rising." The hall erupted into whispers. Mara caught fragments. The prophecy. Hidden Luna. 300 years. "There is no prophecy," Seraphina snapped. "There's a scheming Omega and malfunctioning magic." Elder Nathaniel's voice rose above the chaos. "The prophecy speaks of a Luna hidden among the lowborn, a queen who would be revealed not by blood or choice, but by the throne itself when the pack needed her most." "We don't need her." Seraphina's voice dripped venom. "We need stability, strength, the alliance between Blackwood and Nightshade. Not some." She gestured at Mara with disgust. "Nobody who probably can't even shift properly." Heat rushed to Mara's cheeks. It was true. Her wolf was weak, barely able to hold form for more than an hour. Other Omegas whispered about it, pitied her. She'd never be strong enough to fight, to hunt, to matter. Perhaps that's exactly why the throne chose her. Elder Nathaniel's gaze remained steady on Riker. "The prophecy states the hidden Luna would unite the packs, not through power, but through something stronger." "There is nothing stronger than power," Riker said flatly. He studied Mara for another long moment, his expression unreadable. Then he turned to Garrett. "Clear the hall. The ceremony is over." "Alpha King," Seraphina began. "I said it's over." Riker's tone left no room for argument. The crowd dispersed reluctantly, voices buzzing with speculation. Seraphina stood rigid, fury radiating from every line of her body. The mating cord lay at her feet like a corpse. "This isn't finished," she said quietly, her eyes on Mara. "I will be Luna Queen. This changes nothing." She swept from the hall, her pack members trailing behind her like shadows. When the room finally emptied, only Riker, Garrett, and Elder Nathaniel remained. The silence pressed down like a physical weight. Mara tried again to stand. The light around her flickered but held firm. "Please, I don't want this. Just let me go back to work. Pretend this never happened." "Pretend." Riker laughed, but there was no humor in it. "The throne of Luna Queens has activated for the first time in 3 centuries, binding itself to an Omega server, and you want me to pretend?" "I never asked for this." "Neither did I." He moved closer, and she could smell him, pine and winter air, and something darker, more dangerous. "But here we are." "The prophecy must be investigated," Elder Nathaniel said, "if she is truly the hidden Luna." "She's not." Riker's voice was iron. "She's a mistake, a glitch in old magic that will be corrected." "And if she can't be removed?" the Elder pressed. "Then we find another way." Riker turned his back on Mara, dismissing her. "Garrett, post guards at every entrance to the throne room. No one enters without my permission. Bring her food and water. She stays here until we resolve this." "You're going to keep me prisoner?" Mara's voice rose. "I haven't done anything wrong. You sat on the Luna throne." Riker glanced back at her, his expression carved from stone. "That alone is treason for someone of your rank. Be grateful I'm not executing you for it." Treason? I was pushed. Convenient. He started toward the doors, then paused. Until we understand what's happened and how to reverse it, you're confined to the palace as my guest. The way he said guest made it clear what he really meant. Prisoner. You can't do this, Mara whispered. I'm the Alpha King. Riker's smile was sharp as broken glass. I can do whatever I want. The doors closed behind him with a boom that echoed through the empty hall. Mara was alone except for Garrett, who positioned himself at the entrance with his arms crossed, and the throne beneath her that hummed with ancient power. The silver light around her pulsed once, twice, like a heartbeat, and Mara realized with growing horror that the throne wasn't letting her go. It was claiming her. Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 2. Mara woke to silk sheets and sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. For one blissful moment, she thought it had all been a nightmare. Then she tried to get out of bed and felt the echo of the throne's magic still humming in her bones. The room around her was obscene in its luxury. A four-poster bed with velvet curtains, marble floors covered in plush rugs, a chandelier that probably cost more than she'd earn in 10 lifetimes. Oil paintings of former Alpha Kings lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow her as she stumbled to the bathroom. The mirror showed her the same face as always. Plain features, brown hair that never quite behaved, gray eyes too large for her face. She looked like what she was, nobody special, certainly not queen material. A knock at the door made her jump. "Miss Bennett?" A female voice, cautious. "I've brought breakfast." Mara opened the door to find a young woman in servant's clothes, the same uniform Mara had worn yesterday. The girl couldn't meet her eyes as she wheeled in a cart, laden with more food than Mara could eat in a week. "I'm sorry," Mara said. "I don't know your name." "Clara, miss." The girl kept her head bowed. "If you need anything else, Clara, please look at me." When the girl finally did, Mara saw fear in her eyes. "We worked together. You know me. I'm not—" "Whatever they're saying I am." Clara's expression flickered between sympathy and terror. "They're saying a lot of things, miss." She glanced toward the door where 2 guards stood watching. "Some say the throne chose you, others say you're a witch, and the Alpha King." She trailed off. "What about him?" "He gave a speech this morning. Declared the throne's magic is malfunctioning." Clara's voice dropped to barely a whisper. "He said you're not the Luna Queen, that you'll never be Luna Queen." The words hit like a physical blow. Mara had expected it, but hearing it still hurt. "He's probably right," she said quietly. "This is all a mistake." Clara's eyes searched her face. Then she leaned in, her voice urgent. "The throne is still glowing, miss. It's been glowing all night. Every time someone passes the throne room, they can see the silver light under the doors." She straightened quickly as one of the guards shifted. "Breakfast is served." She hurried out, leaving Mara alone with enough food to feed a small army and questions that had no answers. The day passed in agonizing slowness. Mara tried the door 3 times, only to be turned back by guards who wouldn't speak to her. She paced the suite, examined every corner, and eventually gave up and stared out the window at the palace grounds below. That's when she heard them, not with her ears, with something deeper, more primal, voices bleeding through the walls like whispers carried on wind, emotions and thoughts that didn't belong to her. Disgrace to the pack. Throne doesn't lie. Omega Trash playing dress-up. Prophecy says, should be executed. Mara pressed her hands to her temples, trying to block out the cacophony, but the voices kept coming, waves of anger and fear and confusion crashing over her. She stumbled backward, and her palm touched the wall. The world exploded into light and memory. She saw the throne room as it had been centuries ago. A woman sat on the Luna throne, beautiful and terrible, with hair like moonlight and eyes that burned silver. Queen Ilara, the last true Luna. Wolves bowed before her, but Mara felt the queen's isolation, her loneliness despite the power that radiated from her very presence. The throne is not a gift. Ilara's voice echoed across time. It is a burden. It is sacrifice. The Luna must give everything for her pack, even if they never understand. Even if they hate her for it. The vision shattered. Mara gasped, yanking her hand from the wall. Her heart raced and her skin felt too tight. What was happening to her? The door opened without warning. Riker strode in, followed by Elder Nathaniel and 2 guards. The Alpha King wore different clothes than yesterday. Black shirt, dark pants, but his expression was just as cold. "Leave us," he ordered the guards. "Alpha King, that's not wise." One began. "Out." The guards retreated. Only Elder Nathaniel remained, standing like a silent witness. Riker studied Mara with the intensity of a predator sizing up prey. "You look like hell. Thank you, so welcoming." She crossed her arms, trying to hide how her hands shook. "Come to interrogate the dangerous Omega. Come to get answers." He moved closer, and she felt the weight of his presence, the raw power barely contained beneath human skin. "What are you?" "Confused." "Try again." "I don't know what you want me to say." Frustration bled through her fear. "I'm nobody. I serve drinks and clean tables and try not to get noticed. That's my life. That's all I am." "Then explain the throne." "I can't. Can't or won't." His eyes narrowed. "Seraphina thinks you're a witch. That you cast some spell to manipulate the magic." Mara laughed, sharp and bitter. "If I was powerful enough to manipulate ancient magic, do you really think I'd be wasting my time as a server?" "Perhaps you were waiting for the right moment." "To do what? Embarrass myself in front of the entire pack?" "Brilliant plan." Riker's jaw tightened. He looked like he wanted to argue, but Elder Nathaniel spoke first. "The throne still glows for her, Alpha King. It remains dark for everyone else." "I'm aware." Riker's voice was sharp. "I'm also aware that ancient magic can malfunction. Or perhaps it's working exactly as intended." The Elder's tone was mild, but his words landed like stones in still water. "You can't seriously believe. I believe the throne has not been wrong in 3,000 years of pack history." Elder Nathaniel met Riker's glare without flinching. "I believe our prophecies exist for a reason, and I believe you're afraid." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Riker's power filled the space, pressing down like a physical force. Mara's knees threatened to buckle, but she locked them, refusing to show weakness. "Careful, Elder," Riker said softly. "Remember who you're speaking to." "I'm speaking to my Alpha King, which is why I'm telling you the truth." Nathaniel's expression remained calm. "Test her. If she's fraud, it will show. But if she's truly the hidden Luna..." "She's not." "Then prove it." Silence stretched between them, taut as a drawn bowstring. Finally, Riker turned back to Mara. "Come here." Every instinct screamed at her to refuse. But she was already trapped, already at his mercy. Slowly she crossed the room until only a few feet separated them. "Closer." "Why?" "Because I said so." Mara took another step, then another, until she could feel the heat radiating from his body, smell the scent of him, pine and winter, and something that made her wolf stir for the first time since the throne incident. Her wolf, the weak, barely there presence that she'd learned to ignore. It woke now with sudden fierce interest. "Mate," it whispered. "Mate, mate, mate." No, that was impossible. Riker's eyes widened slightly, and she knew he felt it too. The bond trying to snap into place between them, ancient and inevitable, and absolutely forbidden for wolves of their respective ranks. No. The word tore from his throat. His hand shot out and gripped her throat, not hard enough to hurt, but enough to make his point clear. "No, I don't care what the throne says. I don't care what magic thinks it knows. You are not my mate." Mara couldn't breathe, not because of his hand, but because of the bond thrashing between them like a living thing. Her wolf howled for him, and she felt the terrible pull of recognition, the certainty that he was hers, and she was his. "Let her go, Alpha King." Elder Nathaniel's voice cut through the haze. "You're hurting her." Riker released her like she'd burned him. He stepped back, his chest heaving, his eyes wild. "Get out. Alpha King, get out." The Elder left without another word. Mara stood frozen, her hand at her throat, staring at the man who'd just rejected their mate bond before it could even fully form. "This changes nothing," Riker said, his voice rough. "The mate bond is a suggestion, not a command. I choose who stands beside me, and I choose Seraphina. I didn't ask to be your mate. Good, because you're not." He moved to the door, then paused. "You'll stay here until we find a way to break the throne's magic. If you try to escape, I'll have you executed for treason. If you speak of the mate bond to anyone, I'll have you executed for sedition. Are we clear?" Mara's throat was too tight to answer. I said, "Are we clear?" "Yes." The word came out broken. He left without looking back. Mara sank to the floor, her whole body shaking. Her wolf whimpered and clawed at her insides, desperate for a mate who wanted nothing to do with them. The rejection burned through her veins like poison. She didn't know how long she sat there. Hours, maybe. The sun moved across the sky, and shadows lengthened in the room. When the door opened again, she assumed it was Clara bringing dinner. She didn't bother looking up. Such a pitiful sight. A female voice purred. The would-be queen on her knees. Mara's head snapped up. Seraphina stood in the doorway, flanked by two wolves Mara didn't recognize. All three wore masks, black silk covering the upper half of their faces. "Lady Nightshade." Mara struggled to her feet. "I don't think you're supposed to be here." "Oh, darling, I go wherever I please." Seraphina smiled, and there was nothing human in it. The guards were persuaded to take a break. Warning bells screamed in Mara's head. She backed toward the window. "What do you want?" "What I should have had yesterday. My mating ceremony. My place as Luna Queen." Seraphina's eyes flashed amber. "And I can't have that with you alive, can I?" The two wolves lunged. Mara dove sideways, but she was too slow. Claws raked across her shoulder, tearing through cloth and flesh. She screamed as pain exploded through her body. Blood, hot and wet, soaked her shirt. She tried to shift, to call on her wolf for protection, but her wolf was too weak, too small, still whimpering from Riker's rejection. The shift stuttered and failed. "Pathetic," one of the masked wolves sneered. "She can't even defend herself." They advanced slowly, savoring her fear. Mara grabbed a lamp and threw it. One wolf batted it aside like a toy. She was going to die here, in this gilded cage, and no one would mourn an Omega who'd reached too high. The wolf grabbed her by the hair and slammed her against the wall. Stars exploded across her vision, claws pressed against her throat, ready to tear. Then the door exploded inward. Riker burst through in a blur of motion and fury. He caught the wolf by the neck and threw him across the room with enough force to crack the wall. The second wolf shifted fully, all teeth and rage, but Riker met the attack head-on. It wasn't a fight. It was a massacre. Riker's wolf was enormous, black as midnight with eyes like ice. He tore through the attackers with brutal efficiency, his power absolute. Within seconds, both wolves lay broken and bleeding, not dead, but wishing they were. Seraphina hadn't moved from the doorway. Alpha King, what a surprise. Really? Riker shifted back to human form, naked and covered in blood that wasn't his. That's what you're going with? I heard screaming. I came to investigate, wearing a mask. Fashion choice. Garrett, Riker called. The head warrior appeared instantly. Arrest Lady Nightshade and her companions. Charge them with attempted murder. Seraphina's composure finally cracked. You can't be serious. I'm a Nightshade. Our families have been allies for... I'm deadly serious. Riker's voice could have frozen fire. Touch her again, and I'll declare war on your entire pack. Are we clear? For a moment, Seraphina looked like she might argue. Then she saw something in Riker's expression that made her back down. This isn't over. Yes, Riker said quietly. It is. Guards hauled Seraphina and her assassins away. Their screams echoed down the corridor until distance swallowed them. Mara slid down the wall, her shoulder burning. Blood dripped onto the expensive rug. She probably should have felt grateful. Instead, she just felt tired. Riker grabbed a blanket from the bed and wrapped it around his waist. Then he knelt beside her, his expression unreadable. Let me see. I'm fine. You're bleeding everywhere. Let me see. Too exhausted to argue, Mara let him examine the wounds. His touch was surprisingly gentle as he peeled back the torn fabric of her shirt. You need a healer, he said. I'll survive. I wasn't asking your opinion. He lifted her as easily as a child, blanket and all, and carried her toward the door. Why did you save me? The question slipped out before she could stop it. You made it clear you want nothing to do with me. Riker's jaw clenched. Because despite what you think, I'm not a monster, and because... He trailed off, his eyes meeting hers for just a moment. Because you're my responsibility now, whether I like it or not. It wasn't a declaration of love. It wasn't even kindness. But it was something other than rejection, and right now, Mara would take what she could get. As he carried her through the palace corridors, she felt the mate bond pulse between them. Wounded but not dead, stubborn and inevitable, and she wondered which of them would break first. Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 3. The healer's quarters smelled of sage and antiseptic. Mara sat on the examination table, while an elderly woman named Iris stitched her shoulder with steady hands and disapproving clicks of her tongue. Claws dipped in silver, Iris muttered. They meant to make sure you couldn't heal properly. Mara watched the needle pierce her skin, feeling oddly detached from the pain. Will I scar? Oh yes, badly. Iris tied off the thread and reached for a salve that smelled like pine and something sharper. But you'll live, which is more than those assassins can say once the Alpha King is done with them. Riker stood by the window, still wearing only the blanket, his back rigid. He hadn't spoken since carrying her here. Guards flanked the door, not the regular palace guards, but elite warriors who looked like they could tear through steel with their bare hands. She needs rest, Iris said, packing away her supplies, and protection. Whoever wants her dead will try again. Already arranged. Riker's voice was clipped. Dax will take over her security. As if summoned, the door opened, and a mountain of a man entered. Dax was even larger than Garrett, with scars crisscrossing his dark skin and eyes that missed nothing. He looked at Mara the way someone might examine a suspicious package. "This is the Omega everyone's losing their minds over?" His voice was a deep rumble. "She's tiny. She's also right here," Mara said. Dax's lips twitched, almost a smile. "She's got teeth, at least. Good. She'll need them." "Dax is my most trusted warrior," Riker said, finally turning from the window. "He'll guard you with his life. Where you go, he goes. No exceptions." "How romantic," Mara said flatly. "My very own warden. Your very own chance at survival." Riker crossed the room and stopped in front of her, his expression hard. "Seraphina's family is powerful. They have allies, resources, and a grudge. The assassination attempt won't be the last. Then let me leave. I'll disappear. You can tell everyone the throne was wrong. The throne is still glowing." His jaw tightened. "Brighter than ever, according to the night guards. Every wolf in the territory knows by now. I can't make this go away, and neither can you." Mara's shoulder throbbed in time with her pulse. "So what happens now?" "Now you move to the North Tower, more secure, easier to defend." Riker looked at Dax. "Get her settled. No visitors except Clara and the healer. I want guards on every entrance." "Already done, Alpha King." Riker nodded once, then strode toward the door, without another glance at Mara. The mate bond stretched between them like a rubber band pulled taut, and she felt the moment he consciously suppressed it again. The rejection hurt worse than her shoulder. The North Tower was beautiful in a severe fortress-like way. Stone walls thick enough to withstand a siege. Windows too narrow for anyone to climb through. A single entrance with guards posted around the clock. Her new quarters were smaller than the gilded suite, but somehow felt safer. A bed, a desk, a private bathroom. Books lined one wall. Someone had anticipated she'd need something to pass the time. Dax positioned himself by the door and crossed his arms. "Ground rules. You don't leave without me. You don't talk to anyone I haven't cleared first. If I say run, you run. If I say hide, you hide. Questions? Just one." Mara sank into the desk chair, exhaustion pulling at her bones. "Do you think I'm a fraud, too?" Dax studied her for a long moment. "I think you're either the bravest Omega I've ever met, or the stupidest. Haven't decided which yet. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting tonight." He jerked his chin toward the bed. "Sleep. You look like death." She wanted to argue, but couldn't find the energy. Her body ached, her shoulder burned, and her wolf had retreated so deep inside she could barely feel it anymore. She dreamed of silver light and ancient queens and voices whispering prophecies she couldn't quite hear. The next morning, Clara brought breakfast and news that rippled through the pack like wildfire. "Grandmother Mora is coming," the young servant said, her eyes wide. "She never leaves her cottage, never. But she sent word to the Alpha King that she must speak about the prophecy." "Who's Grandmother Mora?" "The eldest elder. She was ancient when my grandmother was born." Clara's voice dropped to a reverent whisper. "They say she's blind, but sees more than anyone with sight. She predicted the Great War 20 years before it happened. She knew the old Alpha King would die in battle 3 months before he fell." A chill ran down Mara's spine. "And she wants to talk about me. About the prophecy. The real one, not just the fragments everyone knows." Clara glanced at Dax, who'd been listening silently. They say she's coming this afternoon. After Clara left, Mara tried to read, but the words blurred on the page. Her mind kept circling back to one question. What if the prophecy was real? What if she really was meant to be Luna Queen? The thought terrified her more than the assassination attempt. At precisely 3 p.m, Grandmother Mora arrived. She was impossibly old, her face a landscape of wrinkles and wisdom. White hair hung to her waist in a single braid. Her eyes were clouded with cataracts, but Mara had the unsettling feeling those blind eyes saw straight through her. The meeting took place in the throne room. Mara sat in a chair, not on the throne, never again if she could help it, while Riker stood nearby with Elder Nathaniel and several other pack elders. Dax remained at Mara's side, like a silent guardian. The throne pulsed with silver light the moment Mara entered the room. It had been doing that for 2 days now, a constant reminder that something had changed. Grandmother Mora moved slowly, leaning on a gnarled staff, but her presence filled the space like smoke. When she spoke, her voice was surprisingly strong. Alpha King, you summoned me to explain the throne's choice. I did. Riker's tone was respectful but wary. The pack needs answers. The pack needs many things. Answers are only the beginning. Mora turned her blind gaze toward Mara, and it felt like being examined under a microscope. Come here, child. Mara stood on shaking legs and approached the old woman. Mora reached out with one weathered hand and touched Mara's face. Her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. The old woman's fingers were ice cold. Yes, Mora whispered. Yes, it's you. It's me what? The hidden Luna. Born of shame, raised in shadow, crowned by fate. Mora's hand dropped. The prophecy is older than this pack, older than the territory itself. When the moon goddess created the sacred Luna throne, she bound it to her own magic. The throne would only acknowledge the wolf destined to save the kingdom from the darkness within. What darkness? Riker demanded. The kind that grows in the hearts of those who crave power above all else. The kind that would tear this pack apart from the inside. Mora's blind eyes somehow found Riker. The throne shows us who we need, not who we want. I don't need an Omega who can barely shift. You need the Luna who can unite what's broken. Strength comes in many forms. Alpha King, perhaps you've forgotten that. Tension crackled in the air. Elder Nathaniel cleared his throat. Grandmother Mora, you said, born of shame. What does that mean? The old woman turned back to Mara. You were found as an infant on the northern border, left in a basket with nothing but a blanket. Do you know this story? Mara nodded slowly. She'd been told bits and pieces over the years. The pack outcasts took me in, raised me. Yes, but do you know why you were left there? Why your parents abandoned you? The question had haunted Mara her entire life. Because I was weak. Because I wasn't worth keeping. No, Mora's voice was sharp. Because someone wanted you dead, and your mother sacrificed everything to save you. The room went silent. What? Mara's voice came out barely above a whisper. Your true heritage is hidden, child. Even I cannot see all of it through the mists of time and magic. But I see enough to know you were born of powerful bloodlines. Bloodlines that someone wanted erased. Mora's expression softened slightly. Your parents didn't abandon you. They died protecting you. The words hit like a physical blow. Mara's knees gave out, and only Dax's quick reflexes kept her from falling. He steadied her with one massive hand, his expression unreadable. That's impossible, she managed. I'm nobody. I have no power. No, the throne disagrees. Mora gestured toward the sacred Luna throne. Magic recognizes magic, even when it's been buried and suppressed. You are exactly what the prophecy foretold. This is insane, Riker said, but his voice lacked its usual certainty. Even if her parents were murdered, and that's a big if, it doesn't make her Luna Queen material. The throne has already made that determination. Mora turned toward him. Whether you accept it or not doesn't change the truth, Alpha King. She is your mate. She is your Luna, and she is your pack's only hope against what's coming. What's coming? War, betrayal, darkness that will consume everything unless the true Luna takes her place. Mora's blind eyes bore into Riker. The throne showed me visions. It will show you too, if you have the courage to look. Before Riker could respond, the throne room doors burst open. A messenger ran in, breathless and pale. Alpha King, Lady Nightshade has escaped custody. She's demanding a pack gathering. She says she has proof that the Omega is a fraud. Riker's expression darkened. How did she escape? Unknown, but she's gathered nearly half the pack in the grand courtyard. If you don't address them soon, there could be violence. Mara felt ice settle in her stomach. She's not going to stop until I'm dead. No, Dax said quietly. She's not. Riker's jaw clenched. Fine. If she wants a gathering, we'll give her one. He looked at Mara. You're coming too. What? No. This ends today. The pack will see the truth, one way or another. His eyes met hers, and for just a moment, she saw something other than rejection there. Uncertainty, maybe. Or fear. You'll sit on the throne in front of everyone. We'll let the magic speak for itself. That's a terrible idea, Dax said. It's the only idea that might work. Riker turned to the messenger. Tell everyone to assemble in the throne room. This gathering is mandatory. Within an hour, the throne room was packed. Wolves filled every available space, on the floor, in the galleries above, pressed against the walls. The air hummed with tension and barely contained violence. Seraphina stood at the center, flanked by her family's warriors. Her face was bruised from her arrest, but her eyes burned with triumph. Next to her stood a man in dark robes, thin, pale, with symbols tattooed across his visible skin. A warlock. Alpha King, Seraphina said, her voice carrying across the room. I demand justice. This Omega has used dark magic to manipulate the throne and deceive the pack. Have you brought proof? Riker's voice was ice. Better than proof. I've brought truth. She gestured to the warlock. Master Corvus has examined the throne's magic. Tell them what you found. The warlock stepped forward, his smile oily. The magic has been tampered with. A simple spell, really. Anyone with basic knowledge could have done it. Lies. Mara felt them like poison in the air. But would anyone else? That's convenient, Elder Nathaniel said dryly. A warlock claiming the throne's magic is false. Then let's test it, Seraphina shot back. Let her sit on the throne now, in front of everyone. If she's truly the Luna Queen, the throne will show us. If she's a fraud, it will reject her. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some wolves nodded agreement. Others looked uncertain. Riker turned to Mara. Well, she wanted to refuse, wanted to run, but Grandmother Mora's words echoed in her mind. You are your pack's only hope. Fine. Mara's voice didn't shake. I'll sit on the throne. Dax moved to accompany her, but Riker held up a hand. She goes alone. Alpha King, alone. The crowd parted as Mara walked toward the sacred Luna throne. It glowed brighter with each step she took, silver light pulsing like a heartbeat. She could feel every eye on her, judging, doubting, hating. When she reached the throne, she paused. The stone hummed beneath her fingers, warm and alive. Please, she thought, if this is real, if I'm really meant to be here, show them. Make them understand. She sat. The world exploded into light. Silver radiance erupted from the throne, so bright that wolves cried out and covered their eyes. But this wasn't just light. It was vision, memory, prophecy, all woven together and projected into the minds of every wolf present. Mara saw through the throne's consciousness. She saw war coming, an army of rogues and dark wolves, led by someone within the pack itself. She saw betrayal and bloodshed. She saw the throne room in ruins, the pack scattered and broken, and she saw herself standing between her pack and destruction, the throne's full power burning through her like silver fire. The vision ended abruptly. Mara gasped, her whole body trembling. The throne's light faded to its normal silver glow. The room was silent. Even Seraphina looked shaken. By the moon goddess, someone whispered. Elder Nathaniel spoke, his voice carrying clearly. The throne has shown us the truth. War is coming, and we need our Luna Queen to survive it. No, Seraphina's voice was desperate now. That was a trick, another. Enough. Riker's command silenced her. He stared at Mara with an expression she couldn't read. Shock, anger, something that might have been fear. The throne has spoken. The matter is settled. But Alpha King, I said enough. Guards moved forward and escorted Seraphina from the room. Her screams of protest echoed through the halls, but this time no one listened. The crowd began to disperse slowly, wolves murmuring among themselves. Some looked at Mara with new respect. Others still seemed doubtful, but the outright hostility had dimmed, at least for now. Mara remained on the throne, too exhausted to move. Dax appeared at her side. "Come on," he said gently. "You did good. Time to go." As Dax helped her stand, Mara caught sight of Riker across the room. Their eyes met, and the mate bond flared between them, bright and painful and impossible to ignore. He turned away first. That night, unable to sleep, Mara wandered the North Tower despite Dax's protests. She needed to move, to think, to process everything that had happened. That's when she heard voices drifting up from a lower corridor. Can't let her discover the truth. Too late for that now. Her parents should have stayed dead. Mara froze. She crept closer to the stairwell, her heart pounding. The Alpha King doesn't know. A female voice, cultured and cold. No one knows except us, and it needs to stay that way. A man this time. If she learns what really happened that night, if she learns who ordered the deaths, she'll tear this pack apart. Or unite it. That's what the prophecy says, doesn't it? She's meant to expose the darkness within. Then we eliminate her before she gets the chance. Footsteps approaching. Mara turned and ran silently back to her room, her mind racing. Her parents hadn't just been murdered. Someone in the palace, someone with power and influence, had ordered their deaths, and that same someone wanted her dead too. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 4. Mara couldn't stop hearing those voices. Her parents should have stayed dead. The words circled in her mind like vultures, dark and patient. She sat at the desk in her North Tower room, staring at a blank piece of paper. She'd tried to write down everything she knew, which wasn't much. Found as a baby, parents murdered, Someone in the palace wanted the truth buried. The problem was she had no idea where to start. A knock at the door made her jump. Dax entered without waiting for permission, carrying a tray of food that Mara had no appetite for. "You didn't eat breakfast," he said, setting the tray down. "Or lunch. Clara's worried you're wasting away." "I'm fine. You're a terrible liar." Dax pulled up a chair and sat backward on it, his massive arms crossed over the back. "What's eating at you?" Mara debated lying again, but something in Dax's expression, concern beneath the warrior's mask, made her pause. He'd been protecting her for 3 days now. If she couldn't trust him, she couldn't trust anyone. "I overheard something," she said quietly. "People talking about my parents, about how they need to keep the truth buried." Dax went very still. "What exactly did you hear?" She told him everything. When she finished, his expression was carved from stone. "I was hoping you wouldn't start digging into this," he said finally. "You knew?" Anger flared hot in her chest. "You knew someone murdered my parents and you didn't tell me." "I knew your father." Dax's voice was rough. "Theron Bennett. He was the best warrior I ever served with. Strong, honorable, deadly when he needed to be. He saved my life twice." Mara's breath caught. "Tell me about him." "He wasn't Omega. He was high-ranking Beta, one of the old Alpha King's personal guard." Dax's eyes grew distant. "He fell in love with a woman from outside the pack. Your mother. Some said she was too beautiful to be fully wolf, that she had Fey blood. The old Alpha King forbade the match, but Theron didn't care. He mated her anyway." "Why would the Alpha King forbid it?" "Because your mother came from the borderlands, where loyalty is suspect. Because the elders feared outside influence." Dax's jaw tightened. "Because men in power fear anything they can't control. What happened to them? They were killed during a rogue attack when you were 3 months old. At least that's the official story." Dax met her eyes. "But your father was too skilled to die to rogues. And the timing was too convenient, right after he'd started asking questions about corruption in the pack's treasury." Mara's heart hammered against her ribs. "You think someone in the palace had them murdered?" "I think your father discovered something he wasn't supposed to. And I think you being recognized by the throne has terrified whoever wanted him silenced." Dax leaned forward. "Which is why you need to be very careful, Mara. These people have already killed once. They won't hesitate to do it again. Then help me." The words came out desperate. "Help me find out who did this." Dax studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Your father was my friend. I owe him this much, but we do this my way. Carefully, quietly. Understood?" "Understood." Over the next 2 days, they began to investigate. Dax used his connections among the warriors to gather information. Mara, meanwhile, discovered her new abilities were growing stronger. It started when Clara brought dinner and accidentally cut her hand on a broken plate. Mara reached out instinctively to help, and silver light bloomed from her palm. When it faded, Clara's cut had vanished completely. "Moon goddess," Clara whispered, staring at her healed hand. "How did you—" "I don't know." Mara's own hand trembled. "I didn't mean to—" "The throne's magic," Dax said from his position by the door. He didn't look surprised. "It's bonding with you, making you stronger." But the healing was only the beginning. That night, Mara woke to voices calling her name. She followed the sound to the throne room, where moonlight streamed through the high windows, and the sacred Luna throne pulsed with gentle, silver light. When she touched the throne, the voices became clear. Finally, one whispered, "The new Luna hears us." "We've been waiting so long," another said. trapped between life and death, bound to the throne we once claimed. Mara stumbled backward. "Who are you?" "The ones who came before you, the Lunas who sat this throne and gave everything for their packs." Shapes began to materialize around the throne, translucent figures of women in ancient dress. Mara counted 7 of them, each radiating power and sorrow. The closest spirit moved forward. She had kind eyes and hair that floated around her like she was underwater. "I am Elena, 5th Luna Queen. I died defending the pack from invaders. My sacrifice bound my spirit to this place." Another stepped forward, her expression fierce. "Liara, 9th Luna Queen, poisoned by my own counsel when I tried to reform the pack laws." One by one, they introduced themselves, 7 Luna Queens who'd died violently, their spirits trapped by the throne's magic. "We cannot move on," Elena said sadly. "Not while the corruption remains, not while the darkness continues to poison the royal bloodline." "What darkness?" Mara asked. "The same darkness that killed us, the same darkness that threatens your mate." Elena's expression grew urgent. "The Alpha King is falling to it, child. Every day he rejects your bond. The corruption grows stronger. It feeds on isolation, on severed connections, on power without love. He doesn't want me. He's being influenced by dark magic, a false bond that clouds his judgment and turns him against you." Liara's eyes flashed. "The Nightshade woman has used forbidden magic to claim what isn't hers. It's killing him slowly." Horror washed over Mara. "How do I stop it?" "Find the source, break the spell, accept your true place as Luna." Elena reached out, her ghostly hand passing through Mara's. "But know this. If you claim the throne fully, if you bond with your mate and take your power, you'll see the truth of what's been hidden. You'll know who betrayed your parents, and that knowledge will force you to act. I don't care about the risk. I need to know. Then listen carefully, and we will teach you what we know." The spirits gathered close, their voices weaving together as they shared secrets 300 years in the making. The next morning, Mara found Riker in the training yard, working through combat forms with a brutality that bordered on violence. Warriors gave him a wide berth. Even from a distance, Mara could see something was wrong. His movements were too aggressive, too uncontrolled. His eyes held a wildness that hadn't been there before. And around his neck, barely visible beneath his shirt, she caught a glimpse of something that made her blood run cold. A thin silver chain with a dark crystal pendant. The false bond, it had to be. Dax noticed it too. "That's new. I've never seen the Alpha King wear jewelry." "It's not jewelry." Mara's hands clenched into fists. "It's a binding charm. Seraphina's warlock must have made it." "How do you know?" "The Luna spirits told me." At Dax's raised eyebrow, she added, "Long story, but they're right. Look at him. He's not himself." It was true. As they watched, Riker nearly took off a young warrior's head during a sparring match. The kid barely dodged in time. Several wolves exchanged worried glances. "He's been like this for 2 days," Dax said quietly. "Irritable, irrational. Yesterday he nearly executed a servant for bringing him the wrong breakfast. The false bond is poisoning him." Mara's chest tightened. Despite everything, the rejection, the pain, she couldn't stand watching him destroy himself. "I have to break it." "How?" "The spirits showed me, but I'll need to get close to him. And he's been avoiding me. Then we make him stop avoiding you." Dax's expression turned calculating. "Leave that to me." That afternoon, Dax convinced Riker that Mara needed to learn self-defense. If there's another assassination attempt, she should know how to protect herself until help arrives, he argued. Riker had looked like he wanted to refuse, but too many pack members were nearby, watching. He'd agreed with obvious reluctance. Now Mara stood in a private training room, while Riker circled her like a predator sizing up prey. "Show me your stance," he ordered. She did her best. He immediately moved behind her, adjusting her position with rough hands. His touch sent electricity through the mate bond, but he seemed determined to ignore it. "Pathetic," he muttered. "You're practically inviting an attack." "Then teach me better." She turned to face him. "Unless you'd prefer I die next time." His eyes flashed dangerously. "Don't tempt me." The words should have hurt. Would have hurt a week ago. But now Mara understood. This wasn't really Riker talking. It was the false bond, twisting his thoughts and feelings. She could see the dark magic more clearly now, black tendrils wrapped around his aura like parasitic vines. The pendant at his throat pulsed with sickly energy. "Why are you staring at me?" he demanded. "You're wearing something new. Where did you get it?" His hand moved to the pendant instinctively. "A gift from Seraphina. Not that it's any of your business. Riker, listen to me. It's Alpha King to you." "Fine, Alpha King." She moved closer, and he tensed. "That pendant is cursed. It's clouding your judgment, making me what? Sensible? Clear-headed?" His laugh was harsh. "Maybe I'm finally seeing things as they really are. You're not my Luna. You're an accident. A mistake the throne made because its magic is broken." Each word landed like a blow, but Mara forced herself to stay calm. "You don't mean that." "Don't I?" He grabbed her wrist, his grip just shy of painful. "You want to know what I really think? I think you're a fraud who got lucky. I think the pack would be better off if you'd never touched the throne." The mate bond screamed in protest at his words, writhing in agony. Mara felt tears prick her eyes but refused to let them fall. "Look at me," she said quietly. "Really look at me, Riker. Not through whatever spell Seraphina's put on you. Look at me with your own eyes." For just a moment, something flickered in his expression. Confusion, maybe recognition. His grip on her wrist loosened slightly. Then the pendant pulsed, and his eyes went hard again. "Get out. This lesson is over." "Riker, I said get out." Mara fled the training room with Dax at her heels. Once they were alone in the corridor, she finally let the tears fall. "He's getting worse," she said. "The false bond is consuming him. Then we break it. Tonight." Dax's voice was grim. "I'll find the warlock. You prepare whatever magic the spirits taught you." But fate had other plans. That evening, as Mara was gathering the components she needed for the spell, Clara burst into her room without knocking. "Miss Bennett, you have to come quick. The Alpha King, he's challenged 3 of his own council members to combat. Says they're traitors. People are saying he's lost his mind." Mara and Dax raced to the throne room, where chaos reigned. Riker stood in the center, eyes wild, the pendant at his throat glowing ominously. 3 elders, Nathaniel, Marcus, and Cordelia, backed away from him with their hands raised. "Alpha King, please," Nathaniel said. "We're loyal, whatever you've been told." "Liars," Riker's voice echoed off the stones. "All of you, you've been plotting against me. I can feel it." "The pendant," Mara whispered to Dax. "It's not just a false bond. It's driving him paranoid." Seraphina stood to the side, and next to her was the warlock, Master Corvus, looking smug. Mara's eyes narrowed. She pushed through the crowd before Dax could stop her. "Riker, stop this." He whirled on her. "You, You're part of it too, aren't you? All of you conspiring. No one's conspiring. You're being manipulated. She pointed at the pendant. That necklace is cursed. It's poisoning your mind. She's right, a new voice called out. Grandmother Mora entered the throne room, moving faster than Mara had seen before. The old seer's blind eyes found Seraphina with unerring accuracy. The Nightshade woman and her pet warlock have used dark magic to bind the Alpha King. The pendant contains a false mate bond designed to isolate him from his true mate and make him doubt everyone around him. The crowd erupted into shocked whispers. Seraphina's face went pale. "That's absurd," she said, but her voice wavered. "Is it?" Grandmother Mora turned to the warlock. "Master Corvus, perhaps you'd like to explain the blood ritual you performed 3 nights ago. The one that required a lock of the Alpha King's hair and a vial of his blood." The warlock's smug expression cracked. He took a step backward. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I think you do." Mara moved toward him, and silver light began to glow around her hands, the throne's power answering her call. "The Luna spirits told me everything. How you created a binding charm, how it's supposed to make Riker believe Seraphina is his true mate, while driving him mad with paranoia." "Lies," Seraphina hissed. "She's the one using magic. Look at her hands." But the damage was done. Too many wolves had seen Riker's strange behavior. Too many had noticed the change in him since he started wearing the pendant. Enough of this. Riker's voice cut through the noise. He reached for the pendant. "I'll prove it's nothing." "Don't." Corvus lunged forward, but Dax intercepted him with brutal efficiency. Riker ripped the pendant from his neck. The chain snapped, and the dark crystal hit the floor and shattered. The effect was immediate and violent. Black smoke exploded from the broken charm, writhing in the air like a living thing. Riker staggered, his face contorting in pain as the false bond released its hold on him. The smoke coalesced into shapes, dark, twisted things with too many teeth. They lunged at Riker, and Mara didn't think. She just moved. Silver light erupted from her hands as she threw herself between Riker and the dark magic. The throne's power flowed through her, burning away the shadows. She felt the Luna spirits lending her their strength, centuries of power channeling through her body. The smoke creatures shrieked and dissolved. The throne room blazed with light so bright that wolves covered their eyes. When the light faded, Mara collapsed. Strong arms caught her, Riker's arms. She looked up to find him staring at her with clear eyes, all traces of the pendant's influence gone. And she felt it, the mate bond, fully realized and blazing between them like the sun. No rejection, no suppression, just pure, undeniable connection. "Mara," he breathed. "I'm so sorry. His voice broke. "Moon Goddess, what have I done?" But there was no time for reconciliation. Corvus, seeing his plan unravel, pulled a knife and lunged at Seraphina. "If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me, you scheming." Dax moved to intercept, but he was too far away. The knife descended toward Seraphina's heart. Mara threw out her hand, and silver chains of pure light shot from her palm, wrapping around Corvus and yanking him backward. The knife clattered to the floor. Every wolf in the room stared at her in shock. "How did you?" Riker started. "The throne chose her for a reason," Grandmother Mora said quietly. "She's more powerful than any Luna we've seen in centuries." Corvus struggled against the magical chains, his face twisted with rage and fear. "You fools! You think this is over? Seraphina was just a pawn. There are others, elders, council members, who want the throne. They've been planning this for years." "Who?" Riker demanded. Why should I tell you? I'm dead anyway." The warlock laughed bitterly. "But I'll give you this much. The coup happens during the blood moon, 3 days from now. 3 of your most trusted advisors will—" His words cut off abruptly. Blood trickled from his mouth, and he slumped forward, dead. Poison, Mara realized. He'd taken it, rather than reveal more. Silence filled the throne room. "Get Serafina to the dungeons," Riker ordered. His voice was steady, but Mara could feel his emotions through the bond. Guilt, fear, determination. Question her about the conspiracy. Use whatever means necessary. "Alpha King," Elder Nathaniel said carefully. "If there truly are traitors on the council, then we'll root them out." Riker's eyes swept the room, and wolves dropped their gazes. "Before the blood moon, before they can strike." His hand found Mara's, his fingers lacing with hers. The touch sent warmth flooding through the mate bond, healing and steadying. "I need to speak with my Luna," Riker said, and this time there was no rejection in his voice, only acknowledgement. Alone. The throne room emptied quickly. Soon only Riker and Mara remained, standing in the silver glow of the Luna throne. "I don't know where to start," Riker said quietly. His thumb traced circles on the back of her hand. "I rejected you. I hurt you. You were under a spell. That's not an excuse. I should have been stronger, should have fought harder against it." His jaw tightened. "Instead, I nearly destroyed everything, nearly got you killed. But you didn't." Mara squeezed his hand. "We're still here. We still have time to stop whatever's coming." He pulled her closer, his forehead resting against hers. "I felt it, you know, the moment the pendant broke. The full force of our mate bond. Mara, I've never felt anything so consuming." "I know." She'd felt it too. The rightness of it, the completeness. "I should have trusted the throne, should have trusted fate." His hands cupped her face. "Can you forgive me?" Before she could answer, the throne pulsed with light, brighter and stronger than ever before. Mara felt it calling to her, urging her forward. She walked to the sacred Luna throne, and this time she sat down, with purpose, with acceptance. The throne's magic erupted, not violent this time, but welcoming. It flowed into her, through her, bonding completely, and with that bonding came knowledge, visions of the past, present, and possible futures. She saw 3 faces clearly now, 3 council members wearing smiles while plotting treason. She saw the blood moon rising. She saw a choice: accept her full power as Luna Queen and expose the traitors, or hold back and let the pack fall. When the vision ended, Mara opened her eyes to find Riker watching her with a mixture of awe and concern. "I know who betrayed us," she said. "I know who ordered my parents' deaths." "Who?" she told him, and as she spoke the 3 names, Riker's expression turned to stone. "They've been with me since I became Alpha King," he said. "I trusted them completely. That's why they were chosen for this. That's how they've gotten away with it for so long." Mara stood, the throne's power still humming through her veins. "But we have 3 days before the blood moon, 3 days to gather proof and stop them. We'll need help. People we know are loyal." "Dax," Mara said immediately. "Grandmother Mora, Clara, surprisingly. She knows everything that happens in the palace." "And each other." Riker took her hand again, and this time the mate bond sang between them. Strong and true. No more rejection, no more fighting what we are. We face this together. Together, Mara agreed. But even as they made their plans, she couldn't shake the Luna Spirit's final warning. "The darkness within runs deeper than you know, and defeating it will cost you more than you can imagine. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 5. 3 days. That's all they had before the blood moon rose and the traitors made their move. Mara stood in the war room surrounded by maps and documents, her mind racing. Dax had positioned himself by the door, ever watchful. Grandmother Mora sat in the corner, her blind eyes seeing more than anyone else in the room. And Riker paced like a caged wolf, fury radiating from every line of his body. "My uncle," he said for the 3rd time, his voice raw. "Marcus has been at my side since my father died. He helped me become Alpha King. His fist slammed into the table. "He's been poisoning me this whole time. Not just you," Grandmother Mora said quietly. "The land itself. The Pack's connection to the moon goddess has been weakening for decades. I thought it was natural decline. I was wrong." "How do we stop them?" Mara asked. "The blood moon ceremony is mandatory. Every wolf in the territory will be there. If they attack during the ritual, then we'll be ready." Riker's eyes met hers, and the mate bond hummed between them. They'd been careful not to complete it yet. Too dangerous with traitors watching their every move. But Moon Goddess, it was getting harder to resist. "Dax, I need warriors I can trust absolutely. No one with ties to Marcus, Seraphina's father Aldrich, or Chief Advisor Thorn." "That eliminates half the elite guard," Dax said grimly. "Marcus has been recruiting loyalists for years." "Then we used the wolves they overlooked, the ones they thought were too weak or insignificant to matter." Mara's mind was already working. The Omegas, the lower-ranked fighters, people like me who they never saw as threats. Riker stared at her. "You want to build an army from the Pack's lowest ranks?" "I want to use the wolves, who have everything to lose and nothing to gain from a coup." She moved to the map, pointing. "The throne room has 3 entrances. We guard them with people who won't be missed. Servants, kitchen staff, maintenance workers, anyone who wants to protect their pack more than they care about rank." "It could work," Dax said slowly, "if we're subtle about it, if we don't tip our hand too early. We won't have to be that subtle." Grandmother Mora's voice was heavy. "The traitors already know their plan has been discovered. Master Corvus dying gave them warning. They'll move faster now, more desperately." As if summoning her words into reality, the door burst open. Clara stumbled in, her face pale and blood dripping from a cut on her forehead. "They took her," she gasped. "Seraphina, she's gone. The guards at the dungeon are dead." Riker's expression turned murderous. "How long ago?" 20 minutes, maybe less." Clara swayed, and Mara caught her. Healing light already glowing from her palms. The cut sealed, and Clara's eyes widened. "Thank you, Luna Queen." The title still felt strange, but Mara didn't have time to dwell on it. "Did you see who freed her?" "Masked wolves. 6 of them, but one—" Clara's voice dropped. "One moved like Elder Marcus. I'd know that stride anywhere." "They're not waiting for the blood moon," Mara said. "They're accelerating the timeline." Riker's jaw clenched. "Then so are we. Dax, gather everyone we trust. Mara, you need to—" The words died as the palace shuddered. Not an earthquake, something worse. Dark magic rippled through the stones like a shockwave, and Mara felt the throne's power recoil in pain. "They're attacking the throne," Grandmother Mora whispered. "They're trying to destroy it now, before the blood moon when it's strongest." How long can it hold? Riker demanded. Not long. Hours, maybe less. Mara's heart raced. If the throne was destroyed, the Pack's connection to the moon goddess would sever permanently. They'd be cut off from the ancient magic that had protected them for millennia. I have to get to the throne room, she said. That's exactly what they want, Dax warned. It's a trap, I know. But if I don't try, we lose everything anyway. Mara looked at Riker, and the mate bond flared bright between them. I need you to trust me. Can you do that? His expression softened for just a moment. With my life. Good, because I'm going to need you to complete our mate bond while I'm channeling the throne's power. The room went silent. That's impossible, Grandmother Mora said. The ritual requires privacy. Time. The ritual requires acceptance and love, Mara interrupted. Everything else is tradition, but the throne showed me. The only way to purge the corruption fully is to anchor the magic through a completed mate bond, the Luna's power combined with the Alpha King's strength. Riker moved to her, his hands framing her face. Are you sure? No, but I'm sure that doing nothing means we all die. She managed a shaky smile. Besides, you already rejected me once. Figure you owe me a proper claiming. He laughed, despite everything. That I do. The throne room was chaos when they arrived. Dark energy crackled around the sacred Luna throne like black lightning. 3 figures stood in the center of the destruction. Elder Marcus, Aldrich Nightshade, and Chief Advisor Thorn. All 3 wore ceremonial robes marked with symbols that made Mara's skin crawl, and behind them, Seraphina stood with her hands raised, dark magic pouring from her palms into the attack on the throne. Stop, Riker's command echoed through the chamber. Marcus turned slowly, and Mara barely recognized him. His eyes had gone completely black, his face twisted into something inhuman. Nephew, how disappointing that you brought her here. We'd hoped to kill her elsewhere, away from witnesses. You won't touch her. We already did, years ago. Aldrich's smile was cruel. When we killed her parents, Theron and Elara Bennett, such idealists. They discovered our plans, threatened to expose us. We couldn't allow that. Pain lanced through Mara's chest. My mother's name was Elara, like the last great Luna Queen. Your father insisted on it. Marcus laughed. He was so proud that his mate carried the bloodline of the first Luna. Didn't realize that's exactly why she had to die. What are you talking about? Mara demanded. You still don't know. Thorn's expression was almost pitying. Your mother was the last living descendant of Luna Lara I, the moon goddess's chosen who established the sacred Luna throne. That bloodline was supposed to be extinct. When your parents discovered you carried that power, they tried to hide you, to protect you. The words hit Mara like physical blows. She was descended from the first Luna Queen. The throne hadn't made a mistake. It had recognized its rightful heir. They failed, Marcus said. We found you, killed them. Would have killed you too if that fool Theron hadn't used his dying breath to create a protection spell that hid your true nature. Turned you into a weak little Omega that no one would notice. Until the throne recognized her. Grandmother Mora said, her voice carrying clearly, until fate brought her exactly where she needed to be. Fate. Marca spat the word. We're done with fate, done with moon goddesses and Luna Queens. The pack should be ruled through strength alone. No magic, no balance, just power and dominance. That's not how pack works, Riker said. We need both, Luna and Alpha, balance and strength. Then you're as weak as your father. Marcus raised his hand, and dark energy crackled around his fingers. The corruption we fed you for years should have turned you into the tyrant we needed, but you kept fighting it, kept clinging to your honor. That's what you've been doing to him? Mara's power flared, silver light blazing around her hands. The headaches, the anger, the paranoia, that was you. For 5 years, we've been grooming him. Small doses of dark magic in his food, his drink, enough to twist his mind, make him cruel. Aldrich smiled, but then you appeared, and somehow your presence started healing him, undoing our work. The mate bond, Grandmother Mora said, even rejected, it was protecting him. Not for much longer. Thorn's eyes gleamed. Once we destroy the throne, we'll kill her. Finish what we started 25 years ago. And Riker, well, without his true mate, the corruption will finally consume him completely. You're wrong about one thing, Mara said, moving toward the throne. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she forced her feet forward. I'm not the same helpless baby you tried to murder, and I'm done being afraid. She sat on the sacred Luna throne. Power exploded through her, vast and ancient and overwhelming. The throne's magic recognized its rightful heir, and for the first time in 3 centuries, it gave everything. Mara felt the consciousness of every Luna Queen who'd ever sat here, their strength pouring into her. We are with you, the spirits whispered. Our power is yours. Our sacrifice becomes your strength. Attack, Marcos screamed. Dark magic slammed into Mara like a tidal wave. She gasped, her body convulsing as the corruption tried to tear her apart from the inside. The throne's light flickered, weakening under the assault. Then Riker was there, his hands on her shoulders, his presence anchoring her. I'm here. I've got you. The bond, Mara managed through gritted teeth. Complete it now. Mara, if we do this and you don't survive, then at least I'll die as yours. She grabbed his hand, pressing it to her chest where her heart raced. Please, Riker, trust me. The mate bond flared between them, bright and desperate. Riker's eyes met hers, and she saw the moment he surrendered to fate. I, Riker Blackwood, Alpha King of the Northern Territories, claim you as my true mate. His voice rang through the chamber, cutting through the chaos. My Luna, my queen, my equal in all things. And I, Mara Bennett, descendant of Luna Ilara I, accept your claim. Silver light blazed around them both. My Alpha, my king, my heart. The mate bond snapped into place with devastating force. Mara screamed as power flooded through her. Not just the throne's magic now, but Riker's strength, his dominance, his absolute authority as Alpha King. The two powers merged, spiraling together into something new. Something unstoppable. The corruption in Riker's body ignited like kindling. Mara felt it through the bond, years of dark magic burning away in the face of their combined light. He gasped, his body shaking, as the poison that had been slowly killing him was purged completely, and the power kept building. Mara stood, still connected to the throne, Riker at her side. The silver light around them grew blinding. She could feel the pack lands, every tree, every stone, every wolf. And she could feel the corruption poisoning it all, dark magic seeping into the ground like toxic roots. No, Marcus whispered, backing away. This isn't possible. You're just an Omega. I'm the hidden Luna. Mara's voice echoed with the power of every Luna Queen who'd come before. And I banish you from these lands. The light exploded outward in a shock wave that shook the entire palace. It swept through the throne room, and where it touched the traitors, they screamed. The dark magic burned away, leaving them powerless and broken. But Mara didn't stop there. She pushed the purge further, letting it flow through the Packlands like a cleansing fire. Every trace of corruption, every dark spell, every poisoned ritual, all of it burned away in silver light. The throne beneath her pulsed, and suddenly its glow merged with her own aura. The light sank into her skin, marking her permanently. When it faded, Mara knew without looking that she would bear the throne's mark forever. A silver wolf on her shoulder, glowing faintly with the moon goddess's blessing. The traitors lay unconscious on the floor. Seraphina was gone. Mara felt her fleeing through a hidden passage, but she was too exhausted to pursue. Dax entered with 24 warriors, all of them staring at Mara and Riker with awe. The completed mate bond was visible now, a silver cord of light connecting their hearts. "The traitors are defeated," Grandmother Mora announced, her voice carrying to the growing crowd. "The corruption is purged. The hidden Luna has risen." Wolves began to gather, dozens, then hundreds, filling the throne room and spilling into the corridors. Word had spread impossibly fast. The entire pack seemed to know something monumental had happened. Riker took Mara's hand and raised it high. "Behold your Luna Queen, Mara Bennett, descendant of Ilara I, chosen by the sacred throne, and my true mate." The pack roared their approval. Even wolves who'd doubted her, who'd called her fraud and Omega trash, now bowed their heads in respect. The throne's magic had proven what words never could. "We still need to formalize it," Elder Nathaniel said, appearing at Grandmother Mora's side. He looked shaken, but determined. "A proper coronation, the full ceremony." "Then let's do it now," Mara said. She was exhausted, her body screaming for rest, but she knew they couldn't wait. Not with traitors still in the palace, not with Seraphina escaped. Before anyone else can object. The ceremony was hastily arranged, but no less powerful for its speed. Mara knelt before the throne, while Grandmother Mora and Elder Nathaniel performed the ancient rites. Riker stood beside her, his hand never leaving her shoulder. "Do you swear to protect this pack with your life?" Grandmother Mora asked. "I do." "Do you swear to use the throne's power with wisdom and compassion?" "I do." "Do you swear to be the balance to the Alpha King's strength, the heart to his mind, the mercy to his justice?" "I do." Mara's voice rang clear. "Then by the power of the Moon Goddess and the authority of the sacred Luna throne, I name you Luna Queen of the Northern Territories." Grandmother Mora placed a crown of silver and moonstone on Mara's head. "Rise, your majesty." Mara stood, and the pack bowed as one. She looked out at the sea of wolves, some who'd served her drinks just days ago, some who'd tried to kill her, some who'd always believed. Now they were all hers to protect and lead. Riker pulled her close, his lips finding hers in a kiss that sent heat flooding through the mate bond. The pack cheered, and Mara felt their joy and relief like a physical thing. "My Luna," Riker whispered against her mouth. "My queen, my everything. My Alpha," she whispered back. "My mate, my home." For the first time since stumbling onto this throne, Mara felt like she belonged. The celebration lasted long into the night, but eventually Mara and Riker retreated to their private chambers. The mate bond hummed between them, complete and unbreakable now. "We did it," Mara said, leaning against Riker's chest. "We actually survived." "You did it. I just tried not to die." He pressed a kiss to her hair. "You were magnificent. We were magnificent." She tilted her head to look at him. Together, together, he agreed. Then his expression turned serious. Seraphina escaped. She'll be a problem. I know, I felt her run. Mara's jaw tightened. She went north, to the rival packs. She'll try to turn them against us. Use what she knows about your bloodline. Then we'll face that when it comes. Mara was too tired to worry about future threats. Right now, I just want to be here with you. Riker gathered her closer, and for a while they simply held each other. The mate bond wrapped around them like a warm blanket, secure and steadfast. But in the darkness beyond the palace walls, Seraphina Nightshade stumbled through the forest, her clothes torn and her pride in ruins. She'd failed, but she wasn't finished, not by a long shot. She clutched a small vial in her palm, blood stolen from Mara during the throne room battle, blood that carried the power of the first Luna Queen's bloodline, and in the Northern Territories there were wolves who would pay handsomely for that kind of power. Wolves who had their own reasons to want the Luna Queen destroyed. Seraphina smiled in the darkness, already planning her revenge. The hidden Luna had risen, but her greatest test was still to come. In the throne room, the sacred Luna throne pulsed with gentle silver light. 7 ghostly figures stood around it, the spirits of past Luna Queens, finally able to rest. She'll face darkness again, Elena said softly. The Nightshade woman carries a dangerous secret. But this time she won't face it alone, Liara replied. She has her mate, her pack, and the full power of the throne. Will it be enough? Another spirit asked. The Luna Queens exchanged glances, then slowly faded into the light. Their watch was over. The new Luna would have to face her destiny without them. And in the private chambers above, Mara woke suddenly, a chill running down her spine. She'd felt something, a warning, perhaps, a sense that this victory was only the beginning. But when Riker's arms tightened around her, when she felt the steady beat of his heart and the warmth of the mate bond, she pushed the fear aside. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The hidden Luna had risen, and she was ready for anything. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe, like, and share this video to continue listening to this type of story daily, and also to appreciate this community too. I would like to hear your wonderful opinion about this story. Please comment below.